Starting on Thursday, we will be transitioning to new sizing. Please pay attention and take notes if needed. Each store needs to be consistent with this sizing. Let's start with our cake cones, sugar cones, and dishes at the top. In a small, this will be 2.5 scoops of ice cream. This can only be one flavor. Moving on to the medium, this will be 3.5 scoops of ice cream. This can be 2 flavors. You will scoop 2 scoops of one flavor on the bottom and 1.5 of the other on top. Let's go on to the large. This will be 4.5 scoops of ice cream. You will scoop 2 scoops of one flavor on the bottom and 2.5 of the other flavor on top. Please remember when you are scooping these cones to put the harder flavor on the bottom and the softer one on top. We do not want any leaning cones. Please provide the customer with a lid if the ice cream does seem soft. Now let's move on to our waffle cones and bowls. Starting with the small, this will be 3.5 scoops of ice cream. This will only be one flavor. Next, the medium. This will be 4.5 scoops. This one can have 2 flavors. Again, you will put 2 scoops of one flavor on the bottom and 2.5 of the other on top. Next is the large. This will be 5.5 scoops. 3 scoops of one flavor will go on the bottom and 2.5 of the other will go on top. Please remember to place the harder ice cream on the bottom. This is very important so that our cones can stay upright and our ice cream is not falling out the front or the back. Let's review our cones. We have a sugar cone, cake cone, waffle cone. These are the dipped waffle cones, and these are our waffle bowls, plain and dipped. This is a small dish. This will hold 2.5 scoops of ice cream. This is our medium and large dish, 3.5 scoops or 4.5 scoops of ice cream. Here's our lid, which can snap right on to either dish. The lid is also used for our sundaes. One more note regarding the cones. Please remember to use a napkin when picking up any sort of waffle cone. We do not want to be touching the cone that the customer will be eating. Please grab sugar and cake cones from the box underneath. Let's go over our small dish. This will be 2.5 scoops of ice cream. Place the first scoop in the cup, followed by the second 1.5 directly on top of one another. Please remember to make your scoops full, not extra large with ice cream hanging off the side. It should look nice and stand up. Let's go over the medium cup. This is 3.5 scoops of ice cream. 2 scoops of one flavor on the bottom. Please remember, these need to be full, not extra large, with ice cream hanging off the side. Now we're going on to the 1.5 of the other flavor. See how the ice cream is standing up. 1 scoop on the next. Please make sure this is how it looks. Let's review our large sugar and cake cones and cup. This will be 4.5 scoops of ice cream. When scooping, you will do 2 scoops of one flavor on the bottom and 2.5 of another on top. Please remember to make sure your harder flavor goes on the bottom and that the softer one goes on top. Please also remember to make your cones and cups go up and down. Please do not place your scoops beside one another in a cup. Please make sure your cone is standing up and down and not leaning over when you hand it to the customer. Let's go over our large cup, sugar, or cake cone. This will have 2 scoops of one flavor on the bottom. Then we will do 2.5 of the other flavor on top. Please look how Sherlyn makes her scoops full and not extra large. Also look how the scoops are placed directly on top of each other, going straight up and down and not falling over. Please make sure your cups look like this. Let's go over the large waffle cones and waffle bowls. This will be 5.5 scoops of ice cream. Please place the harder flavor on the bottom. This will have 3 scoops of one flavor. After this, you will do 2.5 scoops of the other flavor. Please make sure these are full scoops, and please make sure these are stacked directly on top of one another. We do not want our ice cream leaning forward or backwards or even tipping over the side. Look how Sherlyn places each scoop directly on top of one another. Please make sure this looks presentable to the customer as well. Now let's go over a medium waffle bowl, just so we know exactly what we are doing. This will be 4.5 scoops of ice cream. When you scoop a waffle bowl, please place the scoops side by side, almost in a triangular formation. Please do not scoop the ice cream standing directly up. Look how Sherlyn places each scoop side by side with the small one in the middle. Please pay attention as Sherlyn scoops a large waffle bowl. This will be 5.5 scoops of ice cream. It will also be 5.5 scoops in a large waffle cone. Look how she makes a triangular or staggering formation with the scoops. We do not want these scoops going directly on top of one another. First, she's going to do 3 scoops of one flavor and then 2.5 of the other. The last scoop and a half can go directly in the center. Make sure it looks presentable. Thank you guys for paying attention. Please make sure you know all this information starting on Thursday. It is important that we all look uniform from store to store. If you have any questions, please bring them up with your manager.